This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. Find all my work at mjmunoz.com. Welcome to my fully operational Star Wars analysis. Visit mjmunoz.com/FO for notes and links, and don't forget to subscribe. Like, share, and comment to help me grow. I finished listening to late last night, so I was a little tired during the denouement and the climax, I guess, of the book. Justina Ireland's Star Wars: The High Republic, A Test of Courage, which is I think it's a young reader novel. I think that's what they call that sort of story. The book was about 4 hours long. I looked, it was about 190 pages for the page count. And I had a really nifty summary of the plot that was, from Amazon. One was from Amazon, one was from this, I guess, like a Star Wars High Republic website that they launched too. Anyway, I don't have them for you now, but basically there's a luxury, transport ship of some sort that there's bombs on it, it goes off, and people almost die. Well, almost everybody dies on the ship except for 4 kids, a droid, and 4 kids and a droid. They escape in a maintenance vehicle and they land on an unknown moon. Their nav systems are out, their comms are out. They're basically in a lot of trouble. One of them happens to be one of the youngest Jedi Knights in recent history, who's now 16, but who was knighted at 15 years old. This is Vernestra, who is called Vern, sort of mockingly in the book, by one character and with affection from another character. Anyway, it's Vern Avon, who is a relative, I believe, of Sana Starros. She's an ancestor of Sana Starros because she's Avon Starros and her mother is something or other Starros. So that's kind of interesting, kind of not great. We've got Santeca ancestors in High Republic and Starros ancestors in High Republic. And I don't know if that makes the universe feel a little small, depending how you feel about that. We have a dude who's from a planet of people who hardly fare into space. And then we have another Jedi who is Emery is his name. It's weird. I'm a little unclear on the ages because he's described as being like 12 years old, but he's like thick and he's taller than this 16-year-old girl. I don't mean thick in like a gross perv way, but just like he's the other boy who's Honesty, his name's Honesty. He's described as being, I think, a little shorter and thinner than this Jedi Emery. And I don't know, it's kind of interesting. Anyway, them and this nanny droid / bodyguard droid are stranded on this planet and they have to survive. The book was good. I enjoyed it overall. There were some things that I thought were a little weak on it. It definitely, you could feel that it was tamed and toned down a little bit for a younger audience, but there was no like trite humor. There was no like pandering to kids specifically. But it's funny, I went through a few like young Anakin or Anakin is Obi-Wan's Padawan books a while back, and I really liked them, and there was a series of 6 books, 8 books, 10 books, I'm not 100% sure how long it was, but they just saw Obi-Wan and Anakin on different adventures and like getting separated from each other, and like a bunch of kids get separated from a bunch of adults, and the kids have to explore the dynamics of being, young people without adults, with, unmoored from that, mentor and things like a lot of the kids' novels seem to have like a lot of, similar type stories, and it doesn't necessarily bother me. It's not like a major, lack of creativity and it's creatively bankrupt because, Kathleen Kennedy's ruining it all. Like, no. The book was competently written, but it's just funny. The themes are, kind of similar. This guy, Honesty, I can't remember what planet he's from, but like they have a metamorphosis. So like all of their young people as young teens, go through trials and whatnot, and it's even compared to like the Jedi trials, and it's about like helping the person acclimate or like test into like what their role is going to be in the society. That's pretty interesting. Anyway, I liked the book. Recently some things have come out from Justina Ireland, some things that she said and how hateful she is and how she hates the fans and she's a, reverse racist or whatever. I don't know all the accusations. I didn't really care about those. It was ironic to me though, listening to the book, because if you just read and listen to the way she sets up the world, of her characters and the way they talk about what it's like to be a Jedi, what it's like to be a good person, what it's like to be an adult. Even this non-Force user, Honesty, he advocates like not judging people. He advocates re-examining your biases. He advocates, and his people do, his father does, and he wants to live out that ideal, especially while he's separated from his father. He wants to like embody all the good things that his dad taught him while they're stranded on this moon. And it's interesting because he's like, anything people would accuse Justina Ireland of being, you know, especially Comicsgate or Fandom Menace or any of these people, like her characters and her stories advocate the opposite. And maybe she said things in white hot anger, I don't know, or is it in black hot anger? Anyway, maybe she said things in anger and, you know, should have taken a breath before typing them up and tweeting them out or whatever, but like, I don't really care about that. I'm just here for the book, and I liked the book. One exception, Vern, did feel a little Mary Sue-ish. Like, she's nice to everybody, except everybody doesn't like her, so that, you know, that kind of makes up for it. It was an interesting character choice to have someone be like a super young, like, I don't know if they're planning for the High Republic to go for 3 years, 5 years. I think it does have like a cap on it, and who knows, perhaps as the books go on, you know, out of universe in our world, as the books are published over the course of 3 to 5 years, maybe 3 to 5 years will actually transpire in the stories. I think that is an interesting approach. I think that'd be interesting to see happen. And maybe the reason she was made 16 was so that you can have her be 16, 17, 18, 19, and maybe have a book in the fifth year take place when she's 19, so it can stay like kind of YA. Even though I don't think this one was technically YA. I think it was technically a young reader, but I'm not 100% sure. Regardless, you could jump her from young reader, or which is what I think they call it, to YA and still have that work, and that could be interesting. But you know, Vern's pretty perfect. She's interesting. I like though that she has some personality, or she has like enough personality, but it's like it's pretty minimal. She's just there to kind of be perfect, and like she always tries to be nice and tries to be good, and like those are all good, noble things. And I didn't hate her as a character, but it was nice that it made tension, because Yvonne Staros didn't like that she was such a goody two-shoes, that even when she would chide her or try to discipline her or things like that she'd be really cool about it, and she'd be nice and polite and calm and collected and things like that. And that was all pretty interesting. And then like there was a subplot with Yvonne about this like real negative stuff that happened with her. I'm trying to be kind of spoiler free. This real negative stuff that happened with her that like shaped her and like, I don't know, maybe hardened her into who she is, because she's pretty capable and calm and collected. But it didn't really land super well for me. And I don't know. It just, something about it didn't really land well for me, and I wasn't super into it. But I'll get into that a little more later. Maybe. And Emery, he ends up struggling with a lack of confidence, and you know, he's separated from his master, just like Honesty is separated from his dad. And it's interesting the way they talk about it. Honesty ends up saying to Emery that his master was very much like a father to him, and it makes it's just interesting because these are supposed to be the Jedi at the peak of their, you know, powers, and peak Jedi basically, and they kind of deal with connections and attachment in a different way. Like it's cool we got a good insight into how they deal with their emotions and their feelings, and they don't say attachments, but they basically talk about attachments and things like that. What I found really interesting was that Emery had these struggles, and especially, you know, without his master, and Vern kind of steps in to help him, and they're able to do some things together, and like there's some things that go bad and he feels really terrible about it, but maybe it was the will of the Force, because ultimately it ends up helping them overcome something in the end. And I thought that was really interesting. Who haven't I talked about? I think I've talked about everybody pretty much, except maybe the guy from the planet who's wanting to not miss his metamorphosis. He ends up at the end. Well, they're all good, interesting characters, you know, to a certain extent. Yvonne does this really interesting thing with her droid where she like alters her programming so that she can have free will. It happens really fast. I don't know if she would get free will like seemingly as instantly. No, it was a slow burn thing. Just we got to see like the crescendo of it, and we get to see it at like the end of the life of the like sub program or whatever that she put in her to help alter her programming so she could, you know, reprogram herself and be self-learning, self-actualizing. That was all pretty interesting. I wonder if this is going to lead to little Staros here being one of the people who like helps revolutionize hyperspace, because she's concerned a little bit about how the Great Disaster happened, and she's an inventor, you know, super smart, you know, brown girl. That's a trope nowadays. She's a genius according to a certain Jedi Master, and you know, she's pretty sharp, pretty cool. Anyway, Yvonne wants to use, you know, the science to understand the Force, and I don't know how I feel about that. It's a little, I don't know, a little too tropey, but if you want to be, you know, SJW hater, I guess that's the, you know, there's things you can find to be, you know, offended by in this book, but I really didn't see too much. I think everyone got a fair shake. Yeah, I liked it overall. So to me, it was free from a lot of the political stuff that people are claiming, or people might be claiming about it. I don't think the High Republic is woke garbage just yet. There's nothing really that ruined it for me or took me out of it. I couldn't even tell if, well, yeah, anyway, it just seemed like a pretty straightforward story of these kids trying to survive this, you know, terrible situation and having to do it without help from the adults they know and trusted. It's you know, Vern, she was a little perfect, but I don't know. And she and Emery, like, there's one nice thing about her is that I'm going to keep it pretty spoiler free. I'm going to keep it that way 100%. She does something because she has a dream and she believes the Force is guiding her to it, and Emery is shocked when he finds out about it, and she worries a little bit that it might, you know, push him towards the dark side because it's kind of forbidden knowledge or something like that. But because it has come to her through the Force, you know, unbidden, she feels like it's, you know, it's safe and it's a good thing. And I think that's an interesting idea, and I'll be curious to see if that's explored further or farther in, I guess it would be further. Anyway, it doesn't matter. If subsequent stories that have her in it, whether they're written by Ireland or not, one, showcase this thing that was kind of a secret, and two, if they explore, maybe it does open her up to the dark side or open her up to, I'm not sure what, but it would be interesting to see that go somewhere and for there to be consequences in that, for that to be a seed planted. And I guess this is, I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but I'm just going to go with it. And hopefully it's not. Hopefully you've read the book. You know, it's good enough, I think, to go ahead and get it. But the Nihil are involved. I guess I could say that. The Nihil are involved. And I don't know that we get a little bit of an insight. There isn't a prologue with the Nihil, but there's almost a prologue. Like, the first chapter starts off from the Nihil's perspective, and it's pretty interesting what we get to see of them, the justifications for what they do. They honestly do feel a little bit like certain people who dress in black and, you know, cause mob type things to happen, and like they're jealous because other people have wealth or whatever, and in response to that they just want to steal from people and do so violently if they have to. And I don't know, it kind of reminds me of people, you know, breaking things, stealing things, you know, unjustly, and you know how bad that is. But you're a bad guy if you say that in you know, a certain political atmosphere with a certain bent or whatever. But you know, Ireland seems to write against characters, and you know, the Nihil are kind of written like that. But towards the end, we do get another interaction with them, and they say that they're more than just pirates, more than just thieves, because they do whatever they want. And I'm not sure I really buy that. I was expecting one of the kids to kind of be snarky and say like, so you mean you're basically just pirates? And they didn't. So I'll be interested to see where they go. And I liked how much of a threat they were, and the way that they were overcome in the book by, you know, a group of kids was totally understandable, totally feasible. Didn't bother me at all. So I liked the book overall. I'd give it like a, I don't know, 4 out of 5, 3.8 out of 5. Like, it wasn't great, but it, you know, kept my interest, and I enjoyed it overall. So that's really all I have to say about it. So that's going to be it for now, I think. I almost forgot to say, this is very important. Do me a favor, please. If you check this out, go ahead and check out the Light of the Jedi analysis I did as well. I think it was pretty good. I think I had a lot of good stuff to say about that book as well. I liked it, spoilers, but there's, more details. And I do want to have another Light of the Jedi conversation later, or analysis of a particular element of it, but I'll get into that later. Also, I made a, this is not spoilers, okay, but there's a line that some of the Nihil say, and it's ride the storm, like you gotta ride the storm. And I think it's a really cool line, and I turned that into a design for sticker, t-shirt, whatever you want to get it on. Check it out. You might like it. I have it over at Redbubble. It's also on my website, and I'll have it posted with this show. It's also in the show notes for the Light of Jedi episode. So anyway, do that, and yeah, help me out. Take care, folks.